Hey everybody, it's Jeremy, founder of Paleo Living. So have you ever told anybody that you were 80-20 paleo? And if you did you actually stop to think about what that really means? Because I swear, I hear so many people who tell me this, tell me they're 80-20 paleo, and when they actually tell me what they're doing, it's completely backwards, it makes no sense, and they're actually expending far more energy than they should and getting way fewer results. So in today's video, I want to talk about why that's ridiculous and actually how you could be doing it way better and getting more results for less effort. Okay, so 80-20, what the heck does it mean? I know none of you actually like history. Nobody reads history books anymore, despite the fact that you can find every bit of it online. But the 80-20 principle, it's called the Pareto principle, and it actually means, at least in a business setting and in most settings, that you spend 20% of the efforts to get 80% of the results. So if you wanted to be efficient, you wanted to be smart and evolved about it, you would actually focus on the 20% of the most important things that are going to get you the 80% of the most results. And lo and behold, this can actually be applied to diet also, to a paleo diet or any other sort. So 80% of feeling better, looking better, curing diseases can actually come from 20% of the things that you would otherwise do. In other words, you don't need to be 100% perfect. You don't need to even be doing 80% of the things right, or quote unquote eating right 80% of the time. You just need to be doing 20% of the most important things well, and then you can get 80% of the results. However, most people do it completely backwards. And it kills me, because if you're doing it completely backwards, then here's what's happening. You're actually putting in 4 times the effort that you should be putting in, and you're probably only getting about 20% of the results, whereas you could be getting 80% of the results. So for instance, when most people say that they're 80-20 paleo, what they really mean is that about 80% of their meals, usually less, they're eating quote unquote paleo foods, and 20% or slightly more they're eating junk food. So often on the weekends, people eat complete junk, or just whenever they feel like it, maybe on vacation. Here's the problem with that. Your body doesn't work meal by meal, at least not in every way. So for instance, if you put certain toxins in your body, I mean, think about it this way. If you eat arsenic for one meal, it doesn't matter that you only ate it for one meal. It's probably going to kill you if you ate enough of it. With toxins, it's similar. They might not kill you, at least not initially, but if you eat gluten, it could cause you to have leaky gut for months and months. If you eat processed sugar, it's going to cause your blood sugar to rise for more than just that meal. If you're eating omega-6 fats, they're going to get stored in your body as highly unsaturated fats, and they're going to produce a lot of problems and a lot of inflammation for months at a time. So although you might think that you're only being bad for 20% of your meals and only eating junk for that 20% of the time, it's actually causing you a lot more problems than you would otherwise have if you were almost never eating certain kinds of that junk. Fortunately, there is a solution, and it's not just a partial solution, it's actually a really good solution. And that is to really be 80-20 paleo. When I say really, what I mean is that you would actually take the 80-20 principle, which is often called the Pareto principle, and you would apply it to your paleo diet. And when you do that, what you would do is you would forget about the 80% of things that don't give you very many results. You would focus on the 20% of the most important things, and you would get 80% of the results. All right, so if I were trying to be a true and better 80-20 paleo, here's how I would do it. First of all, I would ignore all the things that don't give me most of the results. And here's just my personal list of things that don't matter quite as much. I wouldn't buy organic. I wouldn't buy grass-fed. I wouldn't buy pastured. I wouldn't avoid rice and grains that don't contain gluten. So I wouldn't avoid rice, I wouldn't avoid quinoa, I wouldn't avoid buckwheat. I wouldn't avoid legumes, because legumes are not really that bad in the grand scheme. I wouldn't avoid dairy unless you're really intolerant to it. I wouldn't worry about eating fermented foods. I wouldn't worry about taking probiotics. I wouldn't worry about taking supplements and multivitamins like fish oil. I wouldn't worry about buying locally. I wouldn't worry about eating in season. I wouldn't worry about trying to de-stress as much. I wouldn't worry about getting out in nature. I wouldn't worry about getting quite as much sun. So you can see that's a really long list, and I could come up with a bunch of other things that I really wouldn't worry about. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying those things aren't important. Those are all things I try to do, because I try to be 100% paleo, even though I'm not perfect. But those are things, if I were trying to be 80-20 paleo, that I would just forget about. I would never ever worry about them, because those are the things that they're gonna make you better, but probably only 20% better. On the other hand, I would really worry and would be super strict about the things that give you 80% of the results. And if I had to come up with just three things, here's what I would do. First of all, I would avoid 100% of the time all major toxins. And in terms of major toxins, what I mean is I would avoid processed sugar because it can be highly toxic to your body. I'd avoid gluten-containing grains, so I'd avoid all wheat and barley and rye, things that contain gluten. I would avoid all omega-6 processed seed oils, so corn oil, canola oil, safflower oil, because that stays in your body for a while and is very toxic, also makes you fat and hungry. And I would avoid anything else that's really toxic to you. So for instance, if you were really allergic or sensitive to dairy, then I would avoid that, but otherwise I wouldn't avoid it. So that would be step number one. Step number two would be sleep. I'd say I would sleep 8 hours a night because honestly, that's at least as important as your diet. And if you do that, that actually might get you more than 80% of the results you want to begin with. And the third step I would say is that I would move around more constantly. So even if I weren't exercising a lot, that might be one of the things I don't pay attention to, I would focus on making sure that I got more walking in or just more moving, that is not sitting for 12 to 16 hours at a time. So there you have it. That's what I would do. If you really want to be 80-20 paleo, that is, if you really want to not be 100% perfect, focus on the 20% of the most important things you can do, like avoiding toxins, sleeping, and moving around more, you will actually get 80% of the results, and you'll feel way better than you do, eating well 5 days a week and then eating junk on the weekends, because that's not 80-20 paleo, that's 20-80 paleo. You're putting in 80% of the effort and getting 20% of the results. And sorry, it's just not the way that's going to get you better, that's going to help you lead a better life, that's going to make you feel as good as you can, that's going to make you more productive, more energetic, and just help you enjoy life more. So that's all for today. I'm sure some of you out there are going to not like this. And if you don't like this, let me know in the comments below, because I know a lot of you do like just eating junk on the weekends. I don't think it's the way to go, honestly. I think we need to rethink what it means to be 80-20 paleo and really what it means to live a better life and to be healthier and take care of ourselves. So let me know in the comments below. Click the like button and share it if you have friends who are 80-20 paleo, because I want to hear from them too. There's a click to subscribe button right here. Please click that button, because we love letting you know when we come out with new videos so that you can keep up to date with everything that we're talking about and join in the conversation.